Women of Reddit, what do men do that they think is okay but is actually creepy? You're cute when you're angry. You're thoroughly unattractive when you're condescending. Restrict movement in any way. Pinning me in a corner, holding my wrist down, blocking my escape, etc. may make you feel powerful, but it makes me worry I will be trapped for a while and then dead. Constantly pushing for a date after saying we aren't interested. I just like you as a friend, and they keep pushing like she'll fall in love. Sorry, that's just a fairy tale. Please stop after we say we don't like you. No hard feelings. We just don't want to date you. I've got curly hair and I'm sick of men thinking they can just come and grab a coil of hair and pull it, like I'm some kind of slinky spring. Don't touch my hair and don't call me moody when I tell you to stop. Block and exit while trying to start a conversation. Just don't do it ever. Edited to add link didn't work. It's here. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=dj3hc8plk. Grabbing my wrists. It is a huge ultimate no. Consistent pursuit. My senior year of high school, a junior guy kept pursuing me. We were in an Algebra 2 class together and had after-school practices for theater. This was my first year in any production. My goals that year were to try something new and maybe make some new friends. Enter junior. It started off as friendly conversations. Things we had in common. He was nice and funny, but not my type. There was no spark for me. He asked me out. I said no. He was polite about my rejection and I figured we'd be friends. About 2 months into the school year, he said that he was having a bunch of the cast over for a party that weekend. Sure. Who doesn't like a party? When I got to his house it was just him, his family, and me. I thought I was early. No problem. I sat in the living room and we talked. 15 minutes later I texted a friend and told her to call me ASAP and fake an emergency because my gut felt off. By the time she calls, I've been there about 35 minutes. His mom is almost done cooking dinner. No one else has shown up. And his dad had made a passing remark about his son bringing such a nice girl for dinner. That was the official red flag. I knew Junior hadn't invited anyone else over. I knocked out of there saying my sister had locked herself out of the house and she needed my key. I ignored him as much as I could after that. One-word responses when he asked me things. Minimal interaction during class and practice. He asked me out 3 more times that year, either oblivious or ignorant to my retraction. The last time was to prom and he knew I had started dating someone. He played it off as oh no, I meant both of you come with me. Not a group, mind you, just him. I had to drop out of theater that spring due to a band conflict and it ended up being a blessing because it got me away from him. It's a tame example, but it still gives me the creeps when I remember him. When I am walking down the sidewalk, follow me slowly in a car while trying to talk to me. I hate this. Getting sexually explicit in the first message. I have a large tattoo on my shoulder, and I've had several men come up from behind, and move my tank top strap and bra strap to see it better. It's been mostly in grocery stores and Lowe's of all places. What the If I was X years younger. Quote. I'd be turning down a younger version of you. Follow you around while you're out, because they want to keep talking to you after you've already made 2 attempts to end the conversation. It's not most men at all, but there was one man who acted super creepy and seemed to think it was fine. I worked with this guy back when I was 18. The 2 of us as well as some other coworkers would hang out all the time and I was generally friendly with the guy. Same sort of friendly as I'd use with anyone else, but I guess it made him obsessed with me. For about 5 years he would constantly message me telling me how amazing I am. He clearly seemed to think that was a good idea and it would make me feel good and I guess make me into him. Or maybe he already thought I was into him. Point is, if someone turns you down they probably aren't playing hard to get. Try once. If they turn you down and you suspect they're playing the stupid hard to get game, then ask them directly. Don't pester them constantly for years. That is scary behavior. And yes, I did block the guy eventually. Then he started making alternative accounts to add me with. That's where we are getting into stalker territory though. dick pics. They were creepy at first, now I'm bored of them and compare them to stuff normally. Thumbs. Honking, yelling or some form of catcalling while I'm running or even just walking down the street. When men I don't know well at all do random favors for me without me asking. I know it can come from an innocent place, but I've had enough build-ups to creepy behavior that started with small things that I'm immediately suspicious. Example, not terribly dark. A previous neighbor of mine who was around 45, I was 25. We lived in a house split into apartments, so we shared a yard. He would water my flowers, spread mulch onto my flower beds, clean my gutters, etc., without asking beforehand if I wanted or needed him to help. But he'd always tell me afterward he'd done it. I was already kind of wary about what he expected from me, so I thanked him with a six-pack, which seemed to disappoint him. He also said numerous times that he worries about me living alone and he'd protect me if I ever had an intruder or anything, which, okay, thanks. I decided he was just a generous person. He introduced me to the other neighbors, and once in a while we'd all go out for a drink at the pub down the road, and he'd pay for everyone's drinks, regardless of whose idea it was to go out. So I thought, okay, this is just how he is. And I thought that until I looked up from my couch around 11 p.m. and he was standing in my flower bed staring through my window with his hands cupped around his eyes. He grinned and tapped on the glass like, hey CMERE, let's talk. So I went outside. I was waiting on a friend to come pick me up to find him wearing what I think was a suit, swaying, very drunk, and he says, let's go out. Where do you want to go? I was like, hey, sorry, I've got plans with a friend tonight. So he interrogates me about what kind of friend it was. A guy. Then out comes the list of all the things he's done for me. How he'd never let anyone hurt me. How even though he's old enough to be my father. Then he kind of trailed off. I asked, do you mean go out on a date? Numbles, yeah, kind of. I said I didn't think of him that way, and that he was right. I kind of did put him in the category of people my father's age. Then he got mad, saying things like WOOOWW, so that's how you're gonna be, huh? And I was just so surprised and had no idea what to do, so I just started apologizing. My friend arrived with flawless timing. When you get messages like hi hun with heart emojis in a business setting. I draw for a living and regularly get guys messaging me under the guise that they want to commission something, when it's really just an excuse to get closer to me. This will sound blunt and bitchy, but I don't want you. I want your money. You commissioning, or not. Alright, stop wasting my time. Thank you. Maybe it's just me, but asking if I live alone. Now if at this point of inquiry there was an already established friendship, I suppose it's okay. But if you were a stranger or an acquaintance, that would freak me out. My wife had a boss that would come up behind the ladies and start giving them shoulder massages. Not cool, dude. No, she didn't work for Joe Biden, lol. She was a resident at a hospital. The guy doing it was an attending physician. He did it to all the female residents. Not that it matters, but he was in his 50s and kind of looked like Danny DeVito's penguin. It was bad because the power dynamic between residents and attending made it hard to say much, especially at the time. I've come across a few men who don't seem to understand that I have a boyfriend means I'm not single and I don't want to be pursued or flirted with. I tell guys I'm married and it still doesn't always stop them. One guy even replied with, you happy? My workplace is mostly men. There are 3 women and approximately 25 men. I used to bring in homemade baked goods a lot. Pumpkin bread, brownies, cookies, s'mores bars and the like. I enjoy being in the kitchen. It's a nice gesture to share. One guy started drawing me borderline inappropriate Minnie Mouse drawings. Not done well. Traced images but with small changes like her bloomers too short. Weird to explain. I'm the exact opposite of a person you'd think would like anything Disney related, let alone sexy Minnie. He said he drew them to thank me for the treats. I stopped bringing in treats, which resulted in everyone else questioning why I quit baking. Very awkward all around. Honestly, I would tell them, because creepy guy kept giving me pervy, poorly drawn Minnie Mouse fan art whenever I'd bring something in.